My name is Garrett White. I'm a mortgage planner. I'm a life changer. I'm the man who loves my life. But I wasn't always that guy. If we go back a little bit in my history, 6 years ago, I was a PE teacher and a football coach, teaching kids the productive skill of standing in a straight line and kicking red rubber balls over the fence. Right? I ended up there, not as that was a bad situation to be in, but I had ended my career at Boise State University as a football player, stumped around a little bit in the arena leagues, and then got cancer. And cancer tends to throw a loop in your plans. And so because I had taken the path of least resistance in college, I'd read 5 books and graduated with a degree. Anybody beat that? No? Okay. My parents didn't think that was something I should brag about growing up. But I found myself teaching kids how to be productive with their body. But I was miserable, broke, unhappy, unsatisfied, unfulfilled, and the furthest thing from living my sole purpose. And a book was given to me at that time, and I believe in the principle that Buddha teaches that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, and I was ready. I was hungry for something different. And the book by Robert Kiyosaki, how many of you read it, Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Doesn't surprise me. I read it, I got all hopped up, and I had no idea what to do. But a friend of mine came, again, student was ready, teacher will appear, and a friend of mine came and he said, hey, listen, you need to come check this thing out. He's all, it's called being a mortgage broker. I didn't have a house, didn't own investment properties, didn't know what a loan was, and I thought, I trust this guy, so I'll go check this out. But going over there, I thought I was going to be a bail's bondsman. But I figured it's got to be more money than a PE teacher. So I went and checked it out, figured out it was about loans, and he held up a check. And he said, this is what I made. And I said, wow, in 6 months? He said, no, last week. It's like, I don't care what we're doing, I'm in. And I became a loan officer. And I sat in a cubicle with board shorts on and a t-shirt and my hat sideways, and all kinds of people 2 times my age called me and said, what kind of loan should I get? I said, I don't know, what do you want? I said, 30-year fixed, that's the best decision you're gonna make this year. 15-year fixed, that's the best decision you're going to make this year. And it continued. And a year, I made more money than I'd ever known possible. How many of you make more money doing loans than you ever did in the profession you had before you came in? How many of you have gotten a little addicted to that lifestyle? How many are a little bit stressed? Yeah, like the car, the house. Okay, my goodness, man, I love these cufflinks here, but I don't know if I can afford them anymore if something doesn't change. So after a year being in the industry, I said, something's got to be different here. Because the problem was my perspective had become a pursuit of money at the cost of people. And I started to look at my clients as the enemy, somebody I should fight to get their credit score. Somebody I couldn't share with or connect with because they were the tool and the commission on the loan was the asset. And a friend came in my life and a student was ready and the teacher will appear and my state of consciousness rose again. An individual came in my life and said, people are assets. And loans and the commissions you make are merely tools to create value for people. And it just happens to be at that time that Dave Savage and the mortgage coach came into my life. It was the first tool that I had access to that began to change me from the inside out, to see people different. But see, I married into a family that's into golf. Any golfers in here? Yeah, I hate golf. But I do it a lot, and we played a lot of nice courses in Hawaii. I remember going out the first tee with my father-in-law. See, when I asked my wife to marry me, I had to talk with my father, and I said, is it okay if I marry your daughter? And he looked at me and said, wow, you seem like a nice guy, but we golf in this family. I was like, it's brutal. He said, meet me at the Willow Creek Country Club tomorrow. So I showed up first tee. My grandfather's clubs, they were 60 years old. And they were drivers actually made of wood. And I showed up at the first tee with board shorts on, a t-shirt on, and wrong kind of shoes, looked completely inappropriate. Swung off the first tee, 100 yards down the fairway, 150 yards to the right. My father-in-law looked down and said, this is going to be a long life. And we continued to do this 18 holes in a row. The next time my father-in-law said, well, hey, you know what? The tool's got to be the problem. So he showed up to my apartment with a brand new set of pings. A new bag I couldn't even carry, it was so big. And my mother-in-law showed up with a new outfit, and I showed up the same course the next day with my father-in-law first tee. With a driver as big as my head, made of titanium, and the ball went 100 yards down the fairway and 150 yards to the right. And I thought for a while that the problem was the club. Because when I first started using Mortgage Coach, I was like, this stuff's crap. It doesn't work. I thought I'd just fill it out and give it to them, and they'd just bring me money. Isn't that what it said? See bottom. Buy mortgage coach, make $1 million just by handing people papers. I was like, call Dave, tell him he screwed up. This isn't working, right? But what I realized, the problem wasn't mortgage coach or the tool. The problem was me. And it wasn't until I took on a coach in golf and actually learned how to swing that it made it effective for me to be able to swing any club and produce. Mortgage coach is no different. It's not some magic wand, poof, hit you on the top of the head and you're a genius. No, it just brings out the level of consciousness and the greatness in those who choose to be great from inside out. That's what this event is about today. It's not about teaching you how to optimize the club. In reality, the basis is to teach you how to become the type of individual who transforms people's lives. I remember my mother kneeling down, praying to God. Came home from high school early one day, and she was praying, tears pouring down her cheeks. We stressed with money growing up. Mother sat us down. I can't tell you how many times, week 3, we're out of money. Please don't ask for any more. Please. My mother was begging, please, God, please. Help us find a solution to this financial quandary we find ourselves in. And because of my lack of understanding and my inability to see or hear at the time really what she was saying, years later as I got into the industry and truly became a mortgage planner, one committed to creating value for people, I realized that my parents, for their entire life, had used a 15-year mortgage, biweekly payments, and my parents had sent $2,000 to the bank every month in attempts to pay off their house. All the while sitting down with their kids with tears pouring down their cheeks and stress, unbelief measured to God of we're out of money. Because no one would make a difference. No one would make a difference. And so I decided and declared that I would be that man. I would be the guy who would stand up with someone else's parents, like the countless loan officers who never did for my parents, and make a difference. Not just be about doing and making money, but to make a difference. And the funny thing is that dollars follow value. The mortgage coach itself can be the tool that allows for you to create value at a level that is unbelievable. And over the next 3 days, your intent is going to be to look at the world from inside out. Because the club is only as effective as the person swinging it. One last idea. The number 1 and number 4 golfer in the world, Tiger Woods, struggled in the Masters tournament this year. Anybody see that? Again, I don't like golf, but I'm required to watch it and play it. I must be up to speed or I'm out of the family. Tiger struggled. I remember there was an image that was amazing to me, and Tiger sat there at the driving range after round 1, hand on his driver, 4 coaches sitting behind him and a caddy. And they were all looking at him. The picture was taken. It was on SportsCenter. And I looked at it, and the struggle was not, man, somebody order me a better driver. The struggle was, what's wrong with my swing? That's the intent of today, is to teach you how to swing so that you can return back to where you came from and teach others how to swing and to create the most amount of value you possibly can with the tools that they've been given. I'm going to share with one final idea, one quote from Og Mandino. How many of you found this process of transferring, becoming a loan officer to a mortgage planner a little bit difficult? Anybody found it? Be honest. The other half of you liars, it's okay. It's a difficult process, but there's a quote I want to share with you, which my business partner, Ben Curtis, introduced to me a couple months ago. And Og says in his book, The Greatest Salesman Who Ever Lived, which I'd recommend, another great book, he says, I will persist until I succeed. I was not born into this world into defeat, nor does failure course in my veins. I am not a sheep waiting to be prodded by my shepherd. I am a lion. I refuse to walk, to talk, to sleep with the sheep. The slaughterhouse of failure is not my destiny. I will persist until I succeed, for I am a mortgage planner.
Outstanding. Double up, baby. Outstanding, man. Outstanding. How you doing, Greg? Outstanding. Wow.